Right then, I'm now here for my David Benavidez versus David Morrell fight prediction now for you guys. Fight prediction and preview. And yes, the Battle of the Davids. This is going to be a really interesting fight. And I'm 100% sure that these styles between the two will both gel very nicely and will be a fantastic, great, fan-friendly fight. Yeah, I'm really hyped for this one, to be honest. I'm really hyped. I cannot wait. Yeah, let's be real. Styles are interesting, and they would definitely match. And I mean, both guys kind of at different stages of their careers in ways as well. I mean, you've got Morrell, who's like 11-0, still like, he hasn't really fought the names that Benavidez has fought. Benavidez is still on track for a world title, just like Morrell is. But Benavidez is, operated at a higher level in the pros, especially than over what David Morrell has. So that makes something interesting, in my opinion. But David Benavidez, with the experience that he still has, he's still pretty young, to be fair. He's only like, 27, something like that. And yeah, it's an interesting one. The Benavidez has still got a very long way ahead of him. Same as David Morrell. I think he's like in his mid-20s as well. So, two guys who are a big future in boxing and, are a big future in this light heavyweight division. Obviously, both guys have recently moved up as well. And I don't think Benavidez looked his best against Govstick, but that was always going to happen. He's still adjusting to the division. And Morrell in his last one on the USA Riyadh card, he wasn't looking at his best in his last one. But again, both guys are still adjusting to this light heavyweight division. And both guys are now coming up against each other. And it's a fight that, especially, I think, American boxing fans have been calling for. But a lot of us British boxing fans are very hyped up for this one as well. Who do I think is going to win the fight? I think it's interesting, but I'm going to go with David Benavidez to win. I think Benavidez will eventually stop Morrell. I feel like this is a fight where there's most likely going to be a stoppage because of the way that both styles will clash. I'm going to be very surprised if this does end up going the distance. To be completely honest, because, both styles, both guys have that good come forward style. And, they both guys let their hands go really nicely and they both had good volume. But I think with David Benavidez, I think he's going to prove to be too much. And it's just his overall cardio as well. The speed of David Benavidez, I think he can fight at a much higher pace than Morrell, and I feel like he can fight at that much higher pace than Morrell from the very first bell to the very last bell. That's the big thing about David Benavidez, with the pace he can fight at from the very start to the very end of the fight. So if this fight is to go 12 rounds in like it's a 12-round war, but as I said, I do expect someone to get knocked out. But if it is a 12-round war, David Benavidez will win. But if there's a stoppage, I only really see the stoppage coming from David Benavidez, though. So I'm pretty sure David Benavidez will win this fight. I see him overwhelming Morrell as the fight goes on. And Morrell will get some good success in the pocket, same as Benavidez. Both guys are very good in the pocket. But I think it's also going to prove as well, David Benavidez is going to show he is stronger than what David Morrell is at the end of the day. David Benavidez is the stronger fighter. And I think that's massively something that will go in the favor of David Benavidez, 100%. I think as well, he will be able to tire out Morrell, and that is what he does to a lot of his opponents. We saw it in the Caleb Plant fight, especially. He was good in that fight. He kept a good pace, David Benavidez did, and he was eventually also able to tire out Caleb Plant as the fight kept on going on and on for those 12 rounds. But here it's going to be different. I mean, to be fair, I think David Benavidez's counter-punching is very underrated. I feel like a lot of people just see him as this main aggressor who comes forward, lets his really ridiculously quick hands go for his size. He lets his hands go, and the main aggressor. But at times, when at times he's backed up on the back foot. I think we saw it during the Caleb Plant fight. Nice counter punching from David Benavidez, which caught Plant off guard. We saw the odd decent bit of counter punching from Benavidez in the Andrade fight as well. So that was good from David Benavidez. And from David Morrell, he can come forward. He can pick his shots nicely with some good counter punching. And you never know, he could catch David Benavidez off guard. And it's an interesting one. It really is, because I think Morrell he is a strong guy. He does work the body nicely, and I think he has got good uppercuts. He has got a nice lead hook, which I think is a good shot for David Morrell. But I think for David Benavidez as well, he's got a good lead hook. Benavidez's jab is quite sloppy, and you never know if Benavidez uses that a bit. I think Morrell can counter that. But I think the interesting thing about both guys is it's how short they keep their shots when they're throwing, especially Benavidez. As a really tall guy, he likes to fight in the pocket and back you up. He's not really a rangy fighter with how tall he is, David Benavidez. He comes forward, lets his short shots go, and they're really quick and they can cause you big damage. And, it's similar with Morrell as well. He never comes in with massive, always full extension. Even though Morrell can have a decent rangy jab, which you never know, could catch Benavidez off guard, and you never know. I think for Morrell to win, he's going to have to be pretty patient and pick his moments, and he's going to have to be defending himself from the off. And overall, I trust Morrell. I trust Morrell's defense more than I trust David Benavidez's defense. But I trust David Benavidez's offense more than I trust Morrell's. And I think at the end of the day, offense is going to be really key in this fight. It's not going to be... even if Morrell does come and try and outsmart Benavidez, which I think could happen at times in the fight, it's not always going to work out. And Benavidez is eventually going to get his man where he wants him. And he's going to be able to cut off the ring. He's going to get Morrell on the back foot. And both guys like to fight on the front foot. Both guys are good, come forward guys who like to meet in the middle and try and back their opponents up. But who's going to take front foot in this fight? That's also an interesting thing. And I say that a lot of times as well, because there's a lot of fighters who are aggressive and come forward on the front foot. But I think for David Benavidez, I eventually see him being able to come in with some good body shots and really try and lean on Morrell quite a lot up close as well. And that's going to go in David Benavidez's favor, and that's going to help him out a lot in this fight against Morrell. I think for Morrell, I think I think the jab to the body for Morrell could be crucial. I think the jab upstairs for Morrell is going to be crucial in this fight as well to try and catch Benavidez off guard. And I think at times if Benavidez comes in with a short lead hook as well at times, Morrell's going to try and take some step back. So I do think it's and trying to avoid it. And I think it could be important for Morrell to try and back up Benavidez here, to try and, when Benavidez is coming in for some short shots, to try and, take, step back into that center ring and, leave a lot of space behind him so Morrell can get out of the way. But against Benavidez, that is a very difficult thing to do. Benavidez always comes forward, and Benavidez can counter punch on the back foot as well. So that is something that Benavidez, if you are up against the ropes with him, he can grab you. He can, pull it the other way and grab you up and put you up against the ropes and then offload his shots there. Or when he's up against the ropes, he can lean on you and overwhelm you. Or even though Benavidez is a tall guy, his body shots are really good. The way he places his hooks straight to the body, straight to the liver, is pretty dangerous from David Benavidez, and you don't really want to be hit with them. So yeah, I'm going with a David Benavidez win. You can't fully rule out Morrell, but I am pretty confident that David Benavidez will win, and I think his general experience as well. He's boxed more rounds than what Morrell has in the pros, especially anyway. But also as well, I think he's fought better opponents. He's operated at a higher level, and I just feel like overall Benavidez, I think he's pretty unstoppable for most guys at the moment, apart from Bivol and Beterbiev. I think they're the only real troubling fights for Benavidez. Benavidez has got a great chin. He'll take punishment, but he'll keep coming forward. And, the uppercuts will get mixed in from Benavidez. Just everything will get mixed in, and Benavidez will eventually overwhelm Morrell and outwork him. And that's going to get to Morrell. Benavidez will stop David Morrell, in my opinion. As I said, both guys will come forward. Someone's getting knocked out in this fight. And I think Benavidez is going to be the one standing victorious by the end of the night. I'm going to go with a David Benavidez win in the... What round would I go for? I'm going to say round 9 or 10. I'm going to go with round 9. It's a difficult one. I might get around 9 or 10, round 10 possibly. I don't know. I'll stick with round 9 or 10 for David Benavidez. Anyway, thanks for watching.